सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां परम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं पादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनाधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Let us chant 29 to 32. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयम् देहे सर्वस्य भारत अस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि कर्म्याधियुत्थात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्. So we are on the topic of having Krishna very well convincing us that from whichever standard Shastra main advice is that a mentally afflicted state, a state of mental disturbance in the form of, especially in the form of grief and allied emotions, is not befitting a human embodied life. It does not befit a human life graph, if I were to put it, which means that even though it is accepted in the society and it's very natural to have grief and allied emotions, that acceptance is not reasonable. It does not stand the test of, it has not been verified. It is a belief. It is just accepted because it is a universally experienced emotion. Now and then everybody has it. But because it has such strong acceptance in society, people do not understand that it is something to be resisted. Fought is the right word I would use. You have to fight that state of mind. You have to resist that state of mind which is experiencing grief. It can be momentary, that's acceptable, but instantly Buddhi has to harness that emotion, direct that emotion, guide that emotion. Most people think that it is all right, and we take months and we take a long time sometimes to overcome that state. But reason is the only counter to this kind of belief, which seems to have acceptance. And because it has acceptance, one tends to not offer a resistance to it. I hope I'm conveying it. Because it is acceptable, any adversity, any loss, any hurt, anything that was our like and did not get met, or a dislike, all these are the all these are the only reason why one experiences dukkham. And dukkham in any manner, Krishna says here to Arjuna, if we do not resist it, it is a very clear sign of jivatvam, of your ignorance at the fundamental fact. Wherever there is a notion of individuality, jivatvam, and if you do not make a constant correction to that notion, then automatically the jivatvam is expressing itself, and the belief that this is real, this is my final state of experience, this is, even if you don't call it final, this is real. From a Vedantic standpoint, we don't accept it. Shastra says, even if it is there, put up a fight. When we say put up a fight, means struggle to win over it, overcome it. Struggle to overcome any state of mind which does not befit a human life, I call it. Human life means the fully potentialed human life that is possible in a human embodiment. What is possible in a human embodiment is overcoming struggles, challenges, etc. And whatever the mind puts up as reactions to situations and circumstances, events that happen despite our best intentions. Shastra says resist it, and the only way to resist it is through proper reasoning. And the reasoning cannot be, or reasoning will have to be differentiated from justifications. You have to identify the justifications. First chapter showed that. Then you will be able to come to the fact what is proper reason. And that proper reason should be used to silence the mind, to let the mind overcome its felt, emotional, grief, outburst, whatever you want to give it a name. So, giving us at 3 levels the reasons, at whichever level we can identify it, whichever level we can relate to, whichever level we can reflect and think upon deeper. Deeper means it should come to the core, that when my mind takes an aberration of some sort of a such experience of dukkham, my reasoning should be strong enough to displace that dukh. So the capacity, the reason has to be strongly held against the force of the emotion. So here he had given us from the Paramarthik Drishti, from a Jiva Drishti, and even if you consider yourself as a body, even then. Now he has started from 31st verse. So 30th was the conclusion. From the 31st verse, he started saying a relatable idea of an individual. What I think I am. Our concept of myself is not as a jiva also. I don't really anchor myself as an individual so much as I identify with the various roles or relations that I have in life. In fact, we only relate to the relations we have. Without the relations, life seems to have emptiness. It doesn't have any gati. It doesn't have any force. We are defining ourselves with respect to the relations we have. And this is something to be thought about as much as one can unfold it. Our relations start very early, obviously. The minute we are awake, actually we are relating. But our conscious identity of relation comes as and when we are emotionally growing and the buddhi has started to develop a little, cognition is developing. And we are able to understand what are relations, what is mine and what is not mine. Some fundamental difference that we start operating on. All this difference is keeping in mind avidya, which is besides the point now in this context. The Paramarthik Drishti is not going to be touched upon from 31st verse till the next few verses. This is entirely now relating to us in avidya. Therefore, forget the topic of avidya and jivatvam. Here, the topic is relational identities that we have formed, that we develop. So from the very childhood, based on the kind of relations we are able to, we are experiencing, we seem to have developed an identity of our own self like that. So if our mother was a very kind, generous, compassionate, that motherly kind of a mother, we tend to be a person, a child accordingly. We respond accordingly. If a mother was a more stronger mother or a more dynamic mother, or another trait of a mother, or a father, or a brother, a sister, friends. As one is growing, cousins, relations, whatever be, as I said in one of the previous classes, how much really do we have people that we relate to? They are very countable. At every juncture of our life, every decade, you can see that there are few adding, few deleted, few in the background. I won't say deleted, they go in the background. There are few more added, few go into the background. This kind of from the childhood itself, this is something that is constantly seen. And we have developed the concept of me around my relations. In fact, I can be very safely saying that averagely none of us really even think about our qualities, our characteristics, independent of those relations. Based on those relations, we call ourselves, I am this, I am that, etc. Therefore, to keep sometimes a relation alive, to keep the relation healthy, to keep the relation aspect functioning, we adapt. We do a lot of things. Human beings adapt according to what the relation is. All this is analyzed in our Shastra. Relations are all just very, very incidental. They are relative. They're only relative. They are related to something by the very word. What is a relation? It is related to something. And only as long as that relation is there, means that sambandh is there. As long as there is a relation, so long is the felt identity with reference to that. I remember once I used to, I think, powerful diagram. Very you can see blank.
Yes, Preeti.
Now I'm just drawing a circle. Now this circle is aham, me. Now from this me, we are going to start making relations here. A lot of it is parents, child, say mother. I will write N. Father, sibling, as many as one has. And see the drawing? But most of you should know. It's a circle that I have drawn, and then I would draw the pies. Different pies that are there. So, siblings, after marriage, partner, friends. You can keep drawing these as many as you have. Draw a circle and then pie, make pies of whatever your relation, and start filling your relations there. What is this that I...
Partner.
Partner. That's right. Partner. So your wife, your husband, whoever. And then you may have some work colleagues, formal partner, formal relations. And some more if you want to. Say you have teachers and you have mentors and somebody you look more up to, maybe your friends, parent, somebody you can look up to. So this is your own somebody you look up to. So I'm just writing you here. Please pardon all this. Now, as long as this is your entire aham, it's a very powerful imagery. My aham, may. Tell me of a may which is other than this. Do you have a may which is other than the one of these? Put in the pie. Is there anything concept of may which will not get related to one of them? Main sukhi, main dukhi. But that sukhi dukhi is with reference to will be one of them, no? Something from this pie. Sukhi with my mother, but dukhi with my partner, or sukhi with my partner, dukhi with my sibling. The whole concept of sukhi and dukhi, the whole concept of may, on who may, other than these relations, who am I? What am I? Am I there? Or am I entirely a bundle of relations? Now, supposing, God forbid, one of our parents is no longer there. My father's not there. So here goes. Sambandh ended. What did the Shastra say just now? Whatever is born, jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. With my birth, fatherhood of my father started. As long as there is a sambandh, father and daughter, so long the pie is filling me. The sambandh can be good, it may not be good, it may be beneficial, it can be. I am 50% owner of that relation. My father is another 50% contributor. So we are 50-50 contributors to this unique relationship of father and daughter. It's based on the wisdom of the father or the daughter, your relations are changing, your experience is changing, your quality of life is changing because there is a 50% contribution from my side. There is another 50% contribution from, it can be 60-40, doesn't matter. Don't go by the exact percentage. It's not exact percentage because in a father and a daughter, father will always be a greater giver. But idea is what you understand. What makes that pie a whole concept to me? When I say I'm a daughter, it is a whole concept. It's an experience entirety. It's not just something selected. It's not like a pie that I have drawn. It is an entirety that I experience. But jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. With my birth, my father's fatherhood started. And the relation between a father and a daughter continued till one of us, mrityuhu, puts an end. Or for whatever reason, sometimes there are unusual reasons why people end relations, but doesn't matter. Point is, supposing it is the death that ended this. Now what will happen? I don't know if I can erase this. this pie. By the time I do something. That. Imagine that gone. The death of my father, just that much gone. Now who am I? I'm still a daughter to my mother and all the others. Supposing, maybe we can erase it. Thank you. Erase the border also. This it can be. Now, who is the rest of it? My concept of I, may, is still continuing as a whole. But with my father not being there, that has gone. But the wholeness I am is still there. But the void of my father, thanks. Void of the father now is also there. It's a sambandha. And if it was a happy experience, this sambandha has left a void. I'll try and fill it some way. But it's a unique thing. It cannot be duplicated. You can't duplicate a relation. You can't copy paste a relation. Unique. Every relation is unique. Rest of it is what I have as I now. Now, supposing something happens to one of my close friends. Now, I spent my entire childhood, my young age, my teenage, and we have spent a lot of time in coffee house, and we've spent a lot of time discussing personal things and been a strong support to each other. And suddenly, the friend's gone. And we are taking Mrityu as an extreme example. Remove the pie. Now, what is aham? It's still all this. Felt as whole, but now you can see the void clearly. But with reference to anyone, say here the father relation, what is the relation based on? What is it really based on? The quality of the relation, what is it truly based on? What would the quality of the relation truth? I said we are 50-50 contributors. What would the quality of the relation be based on?
On love.
Affection.
Sorry?
Affection.
Protection.
On love and affection.
Affection, protection. Sorry?
Affection बोला था मैंने, sorry. Affection, yeah.
Affection बोला था? Okay.
Yeah,
Affection.
I said love.
Love, affection, both can be brought down to what?
Commitment.
Commitment.
Emotion.
Can also be brought down to what?
Emotions.
Emotion can be brought down to further.
Indriya.
Sorry?
Indriya.
Indriya.
Attachment.
Yes.
My existence.
My existence. Last
Dependency.
But we are not going to that point anymore. I said, let's leave all that paramarthik drishti for now. We are only sticking to, we are completely this level of vyavharik drishti that we all depend upon for our happiness. What would be the quality of that relation? All this is correct. Commitment, love, protection, affection. Father will be a supporter. Father will be a provider. He'll give you strength. He'll give you whatever a father figure is supposed to be. Supposing. All this comes in him out of a sense of what?
Responsibility.
Level of understanding of responsibility. Close. Very close. The sense of responsibility can be traced further down to what? Why is he responsible? Why does he feel the sense of responsibility?
Blood relation. Blood relation.
Obligation.
Obligation. Good. Blood relation. Why? Obligation. Very close, but not in the English sense of obligation.
Duty.
Duty. Excellent. Excellent. Even here, absolutely perfect. Duty is the fundamental cognition, a sense that with my birth, immediately my father was flooded with. He was flooded with emotion of love. He was flooded with an emotion of care. He was flooded with an emotion of responsibility. He was flooded with an emotion of being a protector, a guider, etc., etc. All this came flooding, but all of that flooded, that emotion flooded in him the minute he held me in the arms, because the fundamental is there was a sense of duty that he felt towards now a child who was adrishtam before the birth. As soon as the child became drishtam in his arms, that little tiny weeny bit, whoever that child is, instantly arose a sense of responsibility, a sense of duty. His sense of duty became my privilege. मेरा अधिकार है वो. So far, are we together? His sense of duty, supposing he lacked, will my relation with him change or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. If he doesn't have the affection came because of duty. Everything is coming because of that. If he doesn't have a sense of duty, he lacks it somehow. He doesn't feel obliged. He doesn't feel responsible. It's not natural. He feels very little. He's not fully awakened to the fact that with my birth, responsibilities were born, duties were born. Mark the words well. Duties were born. Before my birth, he had no duty as a father, if I was the only child. But the minute I'm born, birth of a duty happened. And how did it happen? It was his understanding. How mature are you about your sense of responsibilities and duty? Nobody can plant it on someone. ये तुम्हारा कर्तव्य है जिसको भी हम कहते हैं ना, वो invariably नहीं कर सकते. You don't follow your kartavyas if someone tells you. You don't follow a duty if some. That's why most of the people, even in the world, are not good even in action realm, because it's not easy for them to follow instructions, follow duties. They're not aware of their duties. They're not prone into understanding what their duties are. Duties to appreciate. What are my duties? Your roles will have to come into the picture. जिसके साथ मैंने मैं बनाया है. If I have had the privilege of having a doting father, he has also an adhikar now from me, the daughter. How much am I aware of that as a kartavya will depend upon how much I understand the role of a daughter. What is a daughter's role? It's not the same as, is unique. Let's put it this way. Every role is unique, and I'm not separating daughters as in, no. Every role is unique. Whether it's, call it when the birth of a son, son with reference to father, son with reference to mother, son with reference to brother, sister. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What we are talking about is understanding what is my dharma. There are two levels at which Shastra tells us dharma. From the standpoint of our innate nature, we saw in the last class, Shastra has qualified, has आरोपित किया है, उन्होंने एक structure दिया है, which is universal. All beings will fall into it. Entire nature will fall into it because they are characteristics observed. सिर्फ नाम दिया है, सत्वा रजस तमस क्षत्रिय एक्सेट्रा, ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र, ये नाम है. उनका नाम आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आप बदल सकते हो. You can keep it with reference to the roles. It's okay. But the fundamental will not change. And the fundamental is that Shastra may have used those terms, but they are the ones that I have an identity with. I am today in my identity because of that. The first time as a physio, the first time I wore a white coat, it's exactly a new feeling. And that's why professions, what you choose in life as your career is so important, because they also help in developing your sense of duty and maturity if you wish to. The minute a doctor wears a coat or a lawyer wears a coat, there is a different identity there. Because suddenly there is a sense of a kartavya, a duty to the patient. A lawyer should have a duty to the client. It is a birth of a duty. How mature are we, or how accepting it we are, how much in acceptance we are of that is subjective. How much do we really want to follow that is subjective. But Shastra here is giving us the fourth point. And it says, even if you abide in your sense of felt duties, it is a sure guarantee that you will not grieve. That your mind will not have those kinds of ebbs. The मैं और मेरे में भी, me and mine may be. You can operate on it with just a sense of adhikar. Supposing my father has a sense of responsibility towards me, I as a daughter have an adhikar from my father, and I only recognize the adhikar part. Mark these words because it will give you a lot of clarity about what is duties. Agar मैं as a daughter, my father, when I was born, my father felt a birth of duties. He can abide in it. I am taking the privilege of that. I have an adhikar of it. But supposing I only abide in my adhikar, what will happen to the relation? Because along with the adhikar, my father has also got an adhikar over me. He's also got a privilege from me. That privilege of his is my duty. His duty is my privilege. My duty is his privilege. if I am not in cognition of my duty at all, and I only think, excuse me, and I only think that मेरे तो अधिकार है. My father should provide, my father should take care, my father is there, my father will always be there, my father will handle all this. Most of the daughters think their fathers are gods because they have to play the role of a god. They manage to do everything almost, which is seemingly impossible even to their own self. You only understand that when you grow older and become a parent, that how difficult it is actually fulfill everything about even a child, their desires. How difficult it is actually, because it is difficult. And yet, they go all out probably, try their level best to make it as fulfilling their sense of duty by abiding in it, allowing you to have a sense of fulfillment. But if I only remain with that sense, father's duty, is there a reciprocation back or not in creation? Is there a duty back or not? To my father, would I have a duty or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Will it apply to all the other pies or not? The same principle.
Yes.
100%.
Wherever I have a privilege felt, sometimes our friends go all out. They help us in the most difficult way, time. And they help us in very big, something that only friends can, parents can't, siblings can't. They are there for you, kind of a thing. That has become my privilege. Their awareness of their duty towards you as a friend has become your privilege. Would you have a duty back? Should you only be the one who is entitled to enjoy the privileges? And if you are of a person who cannot return back those other people's privilege upon you in that relation, will the relation be harmonious? Will it bring that whatever little limitation that relation can bring in terms of joy? Will it bring the joy? Will it bring the happiness? And here we are not talking about Atma Vidya. The Prakandam is not the topic now. Topic now is only here, Laukik.
It's all give and take.
It will be, and that give and take is based on one's own sense of. Krishna tells Arjuna here, says, look at your own duty. The spy that if we were to just rub the whole, can you rub the whole thing? The rubber. Let's just do. We are drawing another circle. We are drawing Arjuna's perspective. From Arjuna's perspective to help us understand. In Arjuna's perspective, what are the pies?
The mother, the brother.
Like everybody else, supposing. Let's just keep making. But what is extra in his case?
Guru.
Or different, unique to him?
Guru.
Bhishma and Drona.
Bhishma and Drona and
Lord
Krishna.
Krishna.
or of Lord Krishna and before all that,
Brothers. Pandavas.
Duryodhan, yeah.
correct. Who is he with reference to
His wife and his son.
we are missing Arjuna. These are all like any one of us. What
his
is unique to
people,
Arjuna?
he's
Auntie?
like a king.
He is like a king. He is a prince. He has a duty. He's enjoying. Understand where his duty comes from. He's enjoying princehood privilege that the state provides to him. He has a palace to live. He has food on the table. He has the privilege of a prince. Enjoying the privilege of a prince which he has due to the subjects, should he have a duty back?
Yes.
What should that duty be?
Well-being of his subjects.
Auntie?
Well-being of his subjects.
Well-being of his subjects.
Security.
Purity. He's given that status. Society looks up to him, is respecting him, is
Role
adoring
model.
him.
Role model.
He's a role model. He is acknowledged to be a worthy prince. And he is enjoying that rare privilege. It's not given to everyone. Pandavas have it. Rama had it. Now, when he is enjoying that privilege, automatically there is a duty that comes along with it. So, what is him being a prince? What is that duty? He has to take care of his praja. That, in the technical terms of the Vedic classification, is a Kshatriya. Today's terms, you are a ruler, you are a soldier. Have to take strong countermeasures sometimes, as if looking like punishing, whatever. But the idea is, your sense of duty is that you are protecting them, that you are doing it for their good. That sense of duty is what must trigger an action. In other words, summarizing it, Gita tells us, here Krishna is telling Arjuna in his fourth, literally brought down to our level, that if you understand nothing at all in life, and you can see yourself getting embroiled in life, bondage in life, struggles in life, lost in life, nahi pata, nahi samajh mein aa raha hai, if you're disoriented with reference to what you want in life or what is right, what is to be done, and you're only a bhogi. Bhogi means you're only an enjoyer in the world. You're enjoying the benefits of your parents, of your friends, of society, of the nation, of your culture. You're just a Bhumte is the word. Bhumte means aap bas baithe maze le rahe ho. You're just enjoying. If you're just enjoying like that, sure enough, there is a fall. You'll be disturbed more and more. You may not acknowledge it. To prevent that, the first rise that a human being brings himself, उसकी आध्यात्मिक गति कहाँ से शुरू होती है? कैसे करेगा वो अपनी आध्यात्मिक गति? How will he come to the human potential where he is living a free, internally, completely free of all bondage? Doing what is to be done, but free mentally, enjoying thoroughly, not on this level of senses, but acknowledging the anandam that is his swabhav, that is your highest potential, quality of life that you can live as a human being. How will you come to that point of experience? First point is, make corrections in your mind and allow the actions to be prompted from the recognition of your sense of duties. Act on your duty. So keeping in mind your duty, your immediate duty, he says, even then, what is your immediate duty? He says that with reference to the father, my immediate duty as a daughter is my dharma. Unique to me. If I have, supposing another sister, that is a unique relation. This is a unique relation. So he says, you see the Gita verses?
Yes, yes. See.
So he says, keeping in mind your own swadharma. Equate the word dharma in this understanding. Wherever I am a receiver of enjoyments and privileges, I have a duty, and that is my dharma. उसी को धर्म का है, because by abiding in that duty and that dharma, you will uphold three dhatu, no? You will uphold the relationship in this context. If my father is abiding in his duties and I abide in my duties as a daughter, the father and daughter relation is entirely enviable. It's most enjoyable because there is a story which goes again in the parampara handed down story. I do not know the origin of the story. I don't even know if it is coming from some other, like Sufis or something. I have no idea where the story comes from, but it conveys very well. What is it that it conveys? There was a heaven where person who just got an entry in a heaven, when he went there, he found something very strange. He found everyone had their elbows straight. Can you see that? Your elbows were straight. Both the elbows of people in the heaven were straight. They couldn't bend their elbows. They were straight. Everybody in that heaven life, but everybody had straight elbows. And goes to hell, they all have bending elbows. But in heaven, he realizes people are happy, people are enjoying, people are light, people are having fun time. But in hell, people are crying, fighting, wailing. So he asks Brahmaji, this is an improvised story now. He asks Brahmaji, what is this? They are so restricted. People in heaven are so restricted. इनका तो पूरा हाथ भी नहीं हिलता है. And yet they are so happy. In hell they seem to have everything. And yet they are so miserable. What is this? What am I missing? Brahmaji said, wait a little while in heaven. Observe them. Live with them. Observe them. So he stays for some time. Definitely, वहाँ पे उनको भी भूख लगती है, heaven में भी. Meal time comes. And when meal time comes, he realizes, he sees that how are they going to eat now? How are they going to eat? They can't bend their elbow. No jhagda. They pick up and whoever's in front, they feed him. Pick
Feed
up,
each other.
feed each other. Whoever's there, feed them. Whoever's there, feed them. Who you are in front of, feeds you. So what has happened? No one is feeding their own self. What are they doing? They are feeding another. And what is another doing? Feeding another. And that experience is called heaven. Vahi heaven hai. And what is happening in hell? Everyone is trying to feed themselves. मैं, मेरा, मेरे को इतना, this part, me. Everyone is trying to focus, to act, to feed their own self. And that is hell. Right. So what is really heaven? Heaven means that experience, that cognition. When I am acting on my duties, with my sense of duties in my relations, whatever I have identified as what calls me मैं. I don't identify myself as an American. Do I have a duty as an American? I don't identify myself as an Australian. मेरी identity में नहीं है. I'm not. मेरे मैं में American नहीं है. मेरे मैं में whichever place there is. If I stay in America, my मैं में America will be there. My duty will be where my मैं is getting fed from. I have built it. I have my मैं accordingly. And so the cognition of duty, my duty, dharma, one's own dharma. Krishna is telling Arjuna, sharing the Gita verses about now can you see?
Yes, Deepti ji.
Now he says in the 31st verse, Swadharmam api cha avekshya. Avekshya means take kar, keeping in mind, seeing from the point of one's own dharma, one's own duty. Means, how we have said today, keeping in mind from the privileges that you entail for yourself, keeping that also in mind, you have a duty. Na vikampitum arhasi. You should not be shivering, should not be shaking in your sense of what I should do. Do not have a doubt with reference to what should I do. This line itself, if you are remembering the previous classes, all of them, the thought flow and anuvritti, if you are able to keep in mind, Arjuna he became what he became because of his aham and mama, that relational pie, Bhishma, Drona, etc., mere, and the emotion surfaced, and as a result of which he was lost his sense of duty with reference to his role, privilege, one sense of entitlement or one sense of what Bhishma and Drona had given him as privilege, misplaced his other privilege that he had from the sense of his praja, from his subjects. Krishna says, puts the perspective correct. Keeping in mind your duty, also the privilege you have entitled, which is a higher perimeter, circumference. Your family, or your nation. If आपका मैं में, you only have centered around your people, your family. Never identified with the nation. No problem. To you, what happens to the nation? But if you've identified yourself to the nation, then your family is a smaller periphery. Nation is a bigger periphery. If you are given a position to stand, enjoying the privilege a nation has given you, you have a duty to do. Same in an organization. Those that you have identified with, keeping that in mind, you should not have had a doubt, O Arjuna. You should not waver in your thinking like this, in your intent, get confused. What should I do? Na vikampitum. Vikampitum means prachalitam, means waver. ऐसे जो शेक हो गया आपका मन कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, ये होना ही नहीं चाहिए था. If you had kept your duty in your mind primarily, then he gives a reason for it. Why? Because harmyat hi yuddhat shreyaha. What is shreyas? What a person who has enjoyed the privileges from the society. In the Vedic context, a Kshatriya. In the present context, a soldier, a general, a fighter, a leader, holding a position of law anywhere, a government position. Holding that, you're getting a lot of entitlements, you're getting a lot of privileges because of that. What the country has voted for, if you are voted by the country, you are a Kshatriya. What are you supposed to do? He says, for a Kshatriya, for such a person who has got this position in society, harmyat yuddhat shreyaha nanyat. There is nothing higher shreyas, greater, than having to fight a war on the grounds of dharma. Harmyat, dharmat. A battle which is dharmic means you're fighting with a sense of your duty, with your sense of right and wrong. You're standing on the grounds of what is right in the terms of protection of people, and not because you were to become a king, you were to get a minister's position, you were to become a chief minister. You are not entitling privileges to the society because you will be put in that position. Because you are in the position, you are serving in that sense. You are doing your duty. Swadharma. Tumhara dharma banta hai ye. Keeping that in mind, that this is your dharma, he says, it is undoubted, it's given in the Shastra, Dharma Shastras also, that for a Kshatriya, fighting on grounds of what is yuddh, dharmic yuddh, fighting on the grounds of what is a dharmic yuddh is the greatest bhagyam. It opens, it's a Shreyas generator, means Arjuna asked, what is Shreyas for me? What is good for me? What is right for me to do? Fighting a war with a sense of what is your duty. If it has come your way and you did not seek it. That is why we often say, na, ki hum log to, we never attack another country, we never fight another country. But the problem with us is we slipped into not even defending our country. Here very clearly, Shastra says, you may not go and fight, but if your kingdom is getting uprooted, someone's wrongfully taking over your company, someone's wrongfully harming your house, your family, your relations, someone's manipulative, cunning enough to upset the structure of where you are enjoying your privileges, then it is your duty to protect that. It is your duty to defend it. You don't have to go and attack another country. You don't have to be ambitious for that. Let everybody live their own peaceful ways, different ways, doesn't matter. Let everybody enjoy their privileges. But if someone is harming by using wrong methods, is taking away your privileges and rights, then you act on your duty and restore the balance again. Restore the balance of the relation again. The king with his subjects. Restore that. So for a Kshatriya who abides, who's formed his, I'm a soldier, even in today, ask a true patriot. When a patriot dies in the country, anywhere in the world, when they die for their country, what is the honor given to such a person? When their family withholds tears, saw it recently also. They will withhold the tears, even though they have lost their immediate family, their father, their brother, their son, etc. But na Jochito. They do not grieve, not in public. Why? Because Shastra says, Dharma says, even Laukik understanding says, if you've died for your nation, if you had to give up your life to protect doing your duty, and in the process you give up your life, then you are going to be the greatest benefactor. Though your life has ended, but you and your generations, family generations, are going to get the benefit of such an action, such a sacrifice. So he reminds Arjuna that even keeping in mind that your duty as a Kshatriya, you have to protect the people who have given you these privileges of a prince. And tomorrow, said to be the king. Do you want these people to have a king who's going to be like Duryodhan? Would you want your people to have, would you want to marry your daughter into a vicious person? It's the same thing for a king. So, Krishna is reminding Arjuna, your duty is to protect these people, and to protect these people is in the form of having the right leader for them. The leader should be right. The king has to be right. And for that, you will have to fight all those who have vested interest. And this understanding only a Vaidika culture can bring in a human mind. This is a maturity of a mind. Everybody will work for their sake. It is only here that you can work for someone else, because you understand it is your duty. Abiding in your duty, seemingly working for someone else, is only beneficial for you at the end. You are the recipient of the benefit. The other person ultimately just becomes a nimitta, and that is your akim, that you recognize it like that. That you're abiding in your duty. The other person is whoever, was just an instrument to help you abide in your sense of duty. Because if the other person is not there, or the country is not there for whom you should be living your values, how will you tap upon your sense of duty? If your relations are not there, how do you tap? Whom do you have a duty for? You can only get philosophical then, for my own sake. That means you have no void then. Then you are an Atma Vidyarthi. Atma Vidyarthi. Atma Vidyarthi doesn't need relations. But living in the world, interacting in the world where your sense of identity is not even identifiable at the level of a jiva. Jiva means you have accepted punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, and you're conscious of the fact that karma alone is what plays gati. Keeping that in mind, your karma was to do what you're supposed to do, what Vedas tell you, what your religious duties are, what your societal duties are. Perform live a life on your duties, and have, because you are dependent on the totality, there is an Ishvara alone from where the results are attributed. You don't have onus on your results. Therefore, Ishvara Buddhi, Jiva Buddhi, Karma Buddhi are all part of Jiva Drishti. Do we live every day even being conscious of the fact that my actions are going to be leading me in my life and my sambandhas are incidental, my duty is following the karmas is primary? No, to us our relations are primary, just as to Arjuna his relations were primary. Our duties at least bring duty at this level. There is nothing lower than this that you can start from. This is the first step to starting your own adhyatmikati. Identify your duty, and then very willingly, because it's knowledge, because it's understanding, because you know you have got the privilege, it is your duty, and therefore you do it. There is no hard, how people cry, मेरी ही ड्यूटी बनती है, मेरी ही ड्यूटी बनती है, मेरी ही ड्यूटी बनती है. तो बोलने बंद कर दिए कि प्रिया तुम तो किस्मत वाले हो, अगर आपकी ड्यूटी बनती है और आपको पता है और आप कर सकते हो. Then he says titiksha. Where the imbalance has happened in society, can anyone point it now? Where has the imbalance happened? Sorry?
Lack of titiksha. Lack of
Titiksha, and before that, one step before also. There's a
Not
fundamental
knowing the duties.
not knowing and not abiding in duties. Even if one person does, the other person takes it for granted that they also have duty towards you. That is not there. Then the question starts, how long should I continue doing my duty? Absolutely.
And why should I do if others
Why
don't?
should I only do my duty? Now, if you have understood the principle of Shastra, is duty really a bargain? Or is duty your own idea of what you should do because of your own identity that you have built around those rules? संबंध. आप संबंध तोड़ दो तो आपका कोई ड्यूटी नहीं बनता. अगर संबंध रखोगे तो ड्यूटी बनेगा. और अगर दूसरे को नहीं समझ में आ रही, should that be the criteria for me to not to do? Then, well, you will all be as samsari as another person is. But they seem to be very happy. They seem to be always having good time. I am the only one who's always doing. You are going to doing like this, saying that I am a karta. They don't do their duty. Are only increasing your jivatvam. So all these four aspects, if you are able to tighten it to your understanding, firmly holding it. Every situation in life is, you can open it. Just on this much. One of the four you will be able to relate. And suddenly the toughness of the situation, the difficulty in the situation, or the impossibility of the situation dissolves. Because you know your standpoint and how you should conduct and what you should do in it. And it is irrespective of what another does. Most often, I'm not generalizing, because principally, if you abide in this much, that should be enough. So here he says very beautifully, what is that Swadharma? Shikara says, Kshatriyasya, forget that word, doesn't matter. But for us, what will we identify? Swabhavikat Dharma. Last class and this class together. Swabhavik vritti kya hai aapki? That swabhavik nature, if I am a fighter, I can fight for people, righteousness and things like that. That is one aspect of me picking up my profession, picking up my vocation, picking up my formal relations that I will form. Work relations, etc. It comes from swabhavik natural vritti kya hai meri? Am I a money-oriented person? Can I calculate? Can I see the hisab kitab? Can I trade? Can I increase? Can I be an initiator? Am I a risk taker? Am I all these qualities? Is money natural to me? If it is, you know your field of activity. Also, keeping in mind swabhavik, in my relations, what is swabhavikally expected out of me? Whatever is someone's adhikar over me, expected out of me is my duty. Swabhavik would be that. I must do that. I must abide in it. That is my dharma. Swabhavikat dharmat atma swabhav. Atma swabhav, one's own nature, not atma as in Satchitananda Atma. Atma here means referring to your own swabhavik nature kya hai. Keeping that in mind, he says, you should not have a doubt with reference to how have you slipped into this condition, Arjuna? Focus has shifted. War you did not come to fight on personal grounds. You did not come to take personal vengeance or what is that word called?
Revenge.
Revenge, thanks. You have not come here to take revenge from Duryodhana because they have troubled you. And you are putting the whole society on for your advantage. You are taking the whole society for your advantage to help you take revenge like Duryodhana is doing. He is making the whole society, all other states, armies are working for me. Remember what Duryodhana said? They have come to die for me. Arjuna did not come with that idea. And that makes a difference in what will take you to spiritual gati and what will not. It's as intricate and as evident, both. It's intricate and it's evident. What is evident? If this knowledge is understandable, जहां जहां मेरा जो role है, वहां वहां मेरी कुछ duty है. You can offer. Maybe the other people don't want you to do your duties for them. Then you can redefine it. But fundamentally, it starts from there. And he says, for a Kshatriya, for one who's of such gunas, for them fighting a righteous war, nothing is more shreyas than that. Once again, Krishna has answered Arjuna. Arjuna had said, tell me what is shreyas for me. All along, Krishna is telling him, in every verse, he is telling him, what is the right thing for you to do? So, there's tasmat dharmyat buddhat shreyaha anyat. There is no other shreyas marg. What will be good for me, if you ask? As a warrior, this is your only mark of shreyas. Fight a righteous war. Defend your boundary. Defend your country. Defend your people. Defend your culture. Defend your identity as part of a society. Do not take it as an absolute. It's not. It's not rigid. Be an integral part of the entire total society. Do not interfere with other people's rights. But you cannot expect other people not to interfere with your rights out of their ambitions, out of their lack of right knowledge, out of their avidya. Avidya is everywhere. Avidya will express only as what? As jivatvam and apurnatvam. Therefore, apurnatvam will bring up desires. Apurnatvam means feeling void, feeling empty, will bring up desires, will make people ambitious, will make people conquer, will make people be powerful, greed, etc. These will be a part of society. But if you want to avoid that pitfall, then stick to doing what is your duty. And a part of your duty is defend what has given you your relative identity. Therefore, Priya says that, O Arjuna. And then in the 32nd verse, it says, what more reason is there to fight? This is going to give another layer of reason. But principal point is the same. We are able to identify how it applies in our life, the roles that we have, if we can center our roles on duties. And that is a huge discipline in life. That is the adhyatmic discipline. There is nothing like just puja, patha and things like that and mantras and alone that work. They also work when they are with a sense of duty. है जरूर अलौकिक कर्म, पर जब अलौकिक कर्म तक भी awareness नहीं है, लौकिक कर्मास in the world where we live and we take from there, what should my laukik karmas be based on? Should they be based on my raga dvesh? Because Bhishma and Drona, Arjuna had nothing but rag. And for Duryodhan, he had nothing but dvesh. Should that be the reason to fight the war? Says, wake up, Arjun. Wake up. He should have said, later on he's going to say, uttishta, ut. It's fallen down. Recognize a more the greater you who you are, rather than just in that specific role of grandchild. Nephew. You have made yourself responsible to a larger set of people. Identify that and act. So, 133, I'll take up. There. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu, Sarvesham purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Prajabhya paripalayantam Nayena margena mahim O brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam Loka samasta sukhino bhavan Ali varshatu parjanyaha Prithavi sasya shalini Deshoyam shobharahitaha Brahmana santirphaya.